And I say this affectionately. You might be one of the dumbest folks on the planet Earth.
I don't have to apologize, but I'm going to do it one final time tonight, and I won't apologize again. I'm sorry that.
Sports World now. ESPN confirming to NBC it's cutting ties with its NFL commentator Shannon Sharpe. The move coming after Sharpe, of course, the Hall of Fame tight end, settled a lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault and battery. He has previously denied the allegations against him, and he hasn't been on.
I'm joking when I say this. When great men fall, don't laugh, learn.
Ooh!
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation, nor from the weakness that will cause us to stumble and fall.
The internet has been in absolute chaos since Shannon Sharpe's alleged email scandal broke. I mean, I found myself scrolling through endless reactions, the judgment, the shock, the defensiveness, the memes, and feeling that unmistakable collective surge that happens when private information suddenly becomes public. I noticed my own reaction to that immediate pull to form an opinion, to process what it means to me about someone I've only experienced through a screen. And maybe you guys have felt it too, that strange sense of personal investment in a situation that technically has nothing to do with our daily lives. But what if I told you that this isn't just about celebrity gossip? What if these massive collective reactions are actually showing us something profound about our lives or ourselves? What if moments like these are actually significant events where hidden aspects of our shared experiences suddenly become visible? There's a reason you feel so drawn to these stories, believe it or not. And today, I'm going to show you why these public revelations create ripples that affect all of us, and how understanding this can completely transform how you respond to similar situations. Why do we react so strongly to celebrity scandals? When Shannon Sharpe's private emails allegedly became public, something fascinating happened. Millions of people suddenly focused their attention on one person's private communications, creating what we might call a massive spotlight effect. Think of it like this: when we observe something closely, we change how we experience it. When we collectively observe something like Shannon Sharpe's private communications, we're not just passively watching, we're actively influencing how the story unfolds. This is why these moments feel so changed or charged. I watched this unfold in real time, how the story exploded across Twitter, how clips from his podcast Nightcap were suddenly being analyzed for hidden meanings, and how old interviews were being seen in new light. That's the spotlight effect in action. Millions of eyes suddenly focused on one person. You've probably noticed these situations seem to just take on life on its own. That's because they're not just social media moments, they're collective events. When millions of people direct their attention to one person's situation, or one situation, it creates an amplification effect. What's happening is a form of connection on a massive scale. Just like how people in a stadium can feel connected during a big play, our emotions become connected with these public events, creating ripples that extend far beyond the actual situation. And this is why you might feel emotionally affected by something happening to someone you've never even met. How does our collective attention affect how we respond? What's really fascinating about Shannon Sharpe's situation is how it's forcing a type of collective self-reflection. In psychology, your shadow contains the aspects of yourself you don't want to acknowledge. But in simpler terms, the shadow is part of yourself you haven't fully accepted or understood. Think of it like this. Imagine your mind as a house with many rooms. Your shadow exists in the rooms you never enter, but those rooms still affect how you feel in the house. Digital exposure, like Shannon Sharpe's emails, suddenly open doors to rooms in our collective house that we've been avoiding. Look at the specific nature of the allegations. Private communication allegedly revealing a different side than his public persona. This triggers our collective fear about authenticity and exposure. I've noticed in my own social circles how his story, or how this story, immediately sparked conversations about public versus private selves. That self-reflection happening in real time. When we judge harshly, we're often projecting our own fears about being exposed. When we defend too quickly, we might be avoiding looking at uncomfortable truths in ourselves. The intensity of our reaction is almost always proportional to how much unprocessed emotional material we carry. I've caught myself having strong reactions to this story and had to ask myself, what is it that's triggering me? What fears about my own public or private alignment am I processing through this external situation? And this explains why these public revelations feel so triggering. They're activating hidden aspects of our collective experience. And once something is brought to light, it changes. These public moments are literally changing how we think about privacy and authenticity by bringing hidden aspects into the open. What is digital shadow work and how does it affect us? Public figures like Shannon Sharpe exist in a unique position in our social landscape. They become what I call collective attention anchors, points where massive amounts of attention converge and interact. Think of it like this. Imagine attention as water flowing through a system of pipes. Public figures are like junction points where many pipes connect. When pressure builds at these points, like during a scandal, it affects the entire system. Shannon Sharpe's position is particularly interesting because he exists at the intersection of sports, media, and now digital culture through his podcast and viral moments. His catchphrases like, "That ain't it, skip, is it skiddup?" We have become part of, have become part of our collective language. This creates a powerful focal point in our shared experience. From a psychological perspective, this creates what scientists might call a tipping point, a moment when attention shifts dramatically from one state to another. And these public revelations create emotional pressure that forces rapid changes, not just for the individual involved, but for everyone connected to the story. This is why we feel so invested in these stories on an emotional level. We're participating in a collective processing experience. Our strong reactions aren't just random. They're showing us where attention needs to shift in our shared understanding. Public figures often process difficult patterns on behalf of the collective, making visible what needs addressing in all of us. I've observed how different communities are processing this situation differently. Sports fans, media critics, and different social groups are all finding different meanings in the same event. That's because each group is processing different aspects of the collective experience through this singular event. How do our emotions amplify during public revelations? So how can you use this public or understanding in your own life? First, notice your emotional reactions to public revelations like Shannon Sharpe's. Strong reactions are always signposts pointing you to your own inner work. Think of it like this. Your emotional response is like a tuning fork, resonating with specific frequencies. When you have an intense reaction, it means that situation is touching on something that matches something in your own experience. This is emotional resonance in action. I've practiced this myself with the Shannon Sharpe situation. When I notice myself feeling judgmental, I ask what part of myself I might be judging. When I felt defensive of him, I examined what I might be defending in myself. These reflections revealed patterns in my own thinking that needed attention. Second, practice what I call digital transparency, living as if everything you do and say could become public. This isn't about fear, it's about alignment. When your private and public selves are in harmony, you create consistency in your life. In our digital age, the boundary between private and public is increasingly thin. Rather than living in fear of exposure, we can use this as motivation to create greater integrity between all aspects of ourselves. Finally, use these collective moments as opportunities to understand yourself better. Ask yourself, what am I being shown about myself through my reaction to this situation? What hidden aspects might I be projecting? This is how you transform collective drama into personal growth. By understanding the deeper mechanics behind these public revelations, you can move from being unconsciously affected by them to consciously using them as catalysts for your own growth and the evolution of our collective understanding. Remember, we're all connected in this shared experience. When one person experiences exposure, we all feel the effects because we're part of the same social web. Instead of getting caught up in judgment or defense, we can use these moments to deepen our understanding of ourselves and accelerate our own personal growth. The Shannon Sharpe situation isn't just about one person's private communications. It's a mirror reflecting aspects of our collective experience that need attention. By approaching it with greater awareness, we can transform what might seem like simple gossip into meaningful personal insight. What's your reaction to Shannon Sharpe's situation? Have you noticed how it might be reflecting aspects of your own experience? Drop your insights in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're processing this from a thoughtful perspective or more thoughtful perspective. If you found this perspective helpful, hit the like button and subscribe and join our community of thoughtful observers. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss my next video. Until next time, stay aware and stay compassionate and stay conscious in the field.